I know for a fact that Wesleyans at home and abroad are proud to call this village home. Let us continue working together to maintain and enhance this place we love so dearly. From the start of these town hall meetings, many of you have inquired as to when will Wesley host a meeting. Well, tonight is our night. In February, we held a meeting in Woodford Hill at the primary school, and we will return to Woodford Hill in the next cycle. My presentation this evening will cover some of the areas I believe that are of concerns to us, and I will also highlight some of the projects that the Labour Party government is working on and what we hope to do in the future. After all these presentations, attendees will get an opportunity to ask questions. And I must elaborate on this a little further, because everyone will have the opportunity to ask a question. But when you do so, please do so in a respectful manner that you will be able to get the response that you are seeking. Oh, I just see a cousin of mine from Toronto there. Hi, Pauline. And my uncle, who is also from Vancouver, is here with his wife, Jennifer. Thank you guys for coming. Okay. I will tackle some of the issues that I know are of concern to us. So the first one would be sports. Over the years, many persons in the Northeast, particular residents of Wesley, continue to talk about the upkeep and maintenance of the Londonderry playing field. I'm supposed to move this in front of me. We grew up watching and participating in various sporting activities on this field. I vividly remember going to my sister on Sundays to sell refreshment and to spectators and cricketers, people like Cap, Yusuf, Oliver Paul, Coffee Robin, and deceased Geoff Augustine, just a few names to mention. Some of you would remember the parades and different sporting events held there. During one of these events, I remember Mr. Honest Mills had a camera, and he was striking various posing positions to take out photos. At the end of it, he didn't even have any film in his camera. Yeah. Students attending the Northeast Comprehensive School use this field for sporting activities, which represents the entire Northeast. So it is important that we maintain and make improvements to it. Persons will notice a vast improvement in the appearance of the field. The maintenance work was completed by persons contracted under the National Employment Program. They spent a couple of weeks to get it to where it is now. This is just the start of things to come. I have in my hand an estimate of over $300,000 to do the drains for the Londonderry playing field. The contractors working on the site are aware of the work that has to be done in regards to the drain and have included it in their designs so they can let the water off when we do construct the drain, which we hope to start very soon. Additionally, discussions have started with interested persons about the restoration of the cricket pitch, and we hope to be starting a new team, to restart a new team in the near future. It is also the hope that many in the community will access the field for jogging and other forms of exercise. In 2014, I installed lighting on the basketball court and I am encouraged that it is used regularly. It is also an area used for community events. The next phase is to look at seating for spectators to enjoy sporting and other activities in some comfort. The Wesley Raptors was active during the time of Teacher Glaw and won championship games. Let's work together to revive the team, to bring it back and all the trophies again to Wesley. You have the facility, and the excuse that the court is not lit is of the past. So let us move Wesley and the Wesley Raptors forward. Education. From kindergarten to university education, this government is involved in every aspect of your learning. At 2 preschools here in Wesley, 2 college students are contracted as teaching aid to those preschools. At this Wesley Primary School, upon arrival, you will notice that the school is a little spruced up. A fresh coat of paint on the exterior and also in the classrooms. This stage that we are sitting on is much stronger because it was rebuilt. New tiles laid in some of the classrooms. The library has new shelving for proper display of all reading materials. Plumbing maintenance was done, and a retaining wall was constructed on the southern end by the principal's office. During discussions with the principal, she suggested that a gazebo be constructed as an outdoor space where students can sit to have lunch comfortably. The reason for this is to create an additional classroom for teaching. It's an effective space, so it is a use of effective space when we transport the lunchroom to the outside and use the lunchroom that is now present as a classroom, because it's only used during lunchtime and other times it's vacant. So we have to get good use of the space. So the design will ensure that there is adequate shelter, seating, and tables for students to sit comfortably to have lunch. The proposed location for this will be at the front side of the school beside the principal's office. At the Woodford Hill Primary School, significant work was completed with the replacement of all the school windows. The ceiling was replaced, electrical was updated, and new cabinets installed in the kitchen. To date, 2 teacher mentors, 1 library assistant, and a food prep person are contracted under the National Employment Program at the Wesley School. At Woodford Hill, 2 teacher mentors and 1 food prep person is contracted also under the NEP. The Northeast Comprehensive. For the record, the Northeast Comprehensive School is located in Wesley. This is information directed to the wider Dominican community. Londonderry is a hamlet of Wesley. The Northeast Comprehensive School is not located in Marigot. Marigot is after Menvin Hall, and that is on the opposite direction from Wesley. Sure. Wesley starts from Cabana. Some of my colleagues, Honorable Rosalind Paul and Honorable Cassius Daru, and I attended a meeting at the Northeast Comprehensive organized by the PTA and the principal. During discussions, a request was made to mow the Londonderry playing field, and as is obvious, that was done. A big thanks to the Wesley and Woodford Hill NEP crew. I will continue to do my best regarding the maintenance of the field. Other requests from the Northeast Comprehensive came in the form of an agricultural helper to assist with the practical component of the agricultural program. A young man from Wesley was contracted under the NEP in that area. With assistance from government, I donated textbooks to the school to ensure that students without can access them from the library. Conversation is ongoing to ensure that this school will become an envy for all secondary schools in Dominica. We are blessed to have a school layout that looks like a college or university style compound. Dominica State College. On the grounds of this school, I met with a few Wesley and Woodford Hill students attending the State College. There we spoke briefly and I recorded their field of study in the hope that when an opportunity presents itself, I will be able to advocate on their behalf. The other part of the discussion was to verify their names previously collected to receive the government contribution for assistance towards transportation back and forth from Wesley and Woodford Hill. A list of 27 students from Wesley and 12 from Woodford Hill was forwarded up for processing, and this should be completed for them to access the funds for the next term. Students, please feel free to meet with me to confirm that your name was captured. There is also an issue with proper lighting of the Northeast School compound. So I have already made a case on your behalf for additional lights with the Permanent Secretary of Education. When school activities go on at night, it's obvious that lighting is a concern. I will continue to do regular visits at the Wesley schools, Wesley constituency schools, and have discussion to ensure that our schools are up to par so all students will be able to excel. They are our future and we have to invest in them. Yes, we care. In Wesley and Woodford Hill, we have approximately 28 elderly persons receiving care. 5 of the caregivers are employed under the Yes We Care program. 9 caregivers are provided under the NEP. This is a very good program which demonstrates the love and compassion of our Prime Minister for introducing this to Dominica. Many of us know of someone whose quality of life has improved significantly because of this program. This works both ways. The persons receiving care are clean, fed, medication picked up, surroundings clean, etc. On the other hand, the caregivers are more independent. They can take care of their families and pay their bills. The local economy, benefits because the monies are spent in the villages. So in spite of the fake news on the other side, Dominicans know that labor is working. This is why on Sunday 7th, we will show our support to this Labour Party at the huge Labour rally at Portsmouth, Benjamin's The 70 plus. In this constituency, we have 96 recipients under this non-contributory pension program. 67 persons from Wesley, 29 from Woodford Hill. In every program administered by government, there are certain requirements. The form should be completed truthfully and accurately, then submitted to the relevant office. An ID must accompany every application. If an individual is receiving assistance from any other source, this should be declared. All Dominicans living on island and qualify will receive this monthly allowance of $300. Where an elderly person is in receipt of social security benefits, welfare, or any pensions from other sources, and it falls short, they will receive a top-up. Top-up. For couples in a household, they receive their contribution individually, and together it makes a total of $600 a month. Contrary to the inaccuracies spread by the Wesley parliamentarian, there is no discrimination directed at any elderly person who is supportive of the other side. I have personally completed and submitted applications to known supporters of the other side, and they are receiving their benefits. Anytime there is a delay, it has to do with some lack of information. In most cases, an ID was not included in the application. The village councils will assist with the disbursement of the funds, and there is an NEP person contracted to assist at the Woodford Hill Village Council. In Wesley, one person is also contracted and will soon start at the council to provide some assistance. NEP is working in this Wesley constituency, so we really want the CBI fund. To date, this constituency individuals who were contracted under the NEP now have full-time employment, one with the Ministry of Education, the other with Dominica ANC Port Authority, DASPA, and the other person with the Ministry of Social Services, Family and Gender Affairs under the Yes We Care. We as a community have to try and safeguard this program so additional young persons and adults can benefit, and I'm talking about none other than the Citizenship by Investment program. This Dominica Labour Party stands on a solid foundation of our founders. We continue to practice what we believe in, that all shall eat, ensuring every Dominican, regardless of their political affiliation, will benefit. Health. The Minister of Health and Environment, Dr. Honorable Kenneth Daru, is here and will provide details about health and the progress of the new National Hospital and the new Marigot Hospital. Amen. There are a few things which I would like to highlight. The Wesley Health Center is in pretty good shape. The structure is solid, and as much as I saw during the recent visit last week, the compound is maintained. But one evening during Dominica lights went off, I drove by and noticed that there was no backup generator and the facility was in darkness. This is a concern, and it's now used as the temporary hospital. So I called the minister and informed him of the situation. I am confident that he will rectify that soon. I will take this opportunity on behalf of the residents of Wesley constituency to say thanks to the government and people of Mexico for their generous contribution of $15 million towards the construction of the new hospital. I saw the designs, and it is very impressive. I am confident that when this is completed, we will all be pleased. Let's continue to pray diligently that the good Lord we serve will continue to grant the government favor in all the undertakings as we move Dominica forward. Environment. Garbage collection is a problem in the village. And we know government should play their part regarding collection. So should we at managing our garbage. I will share from my experience living in Toronto, a major metropolitan city, where more garbage than you can imagine is, collected. And this is one of the cleanest cities in North America. Government introduced the 3R program, which is reduce, reuse, and recycle. These days, those days, you have assigned days for recycled material, and then you have assigned days for food waste. Residents cannot mix the days that the garbage is picked up for either one, recycled materials or for food waste. We cannot use what is done in Canada, but what we can do, we can customize it to our Dominica context. When we grew up, there was no garbage collection, and we did not see mounds of garbage on the side of the street. We disposed our garbage by burning them. Now we hear talk about composting. We can do this and use what we compost as fertilizer or manure. Folks in other parts of the world do composting with very little space. So it shouldn't be a problem for us in Dominica. Let's work together to find new ways to manage our waste and reduce the amount of garbage for collection. Put lunches in reusable containers and reduce what we have. It will reduce what we have to dispose. Refrain as much as possible from using styrofoam containers. Let's continue to make Dominica clean and green. The minister will confirm that he gets routine calls from me about garbage pickup in Wesley and Woodford Hill. So as much as I am encouraging us to manage our waste efficiently, I am also working on getting a regular pickup schedule for our communities. We go to agriculture. Agriculture is a biggie here in this community. I am not going to delve too much into agriculture as the Minister for Agriculture is here and he will make his contribution. But I just want to say a few things on agriculture. Agriculture is a great source of revenue. Let's take, for instance, the new immigrants coming to Dominica. They have tapped into agriculture and are all doing well for themselves and their families. So I encourage the young who are not yet engaged to get involved in agriculture. You will be able to do just as well or even better than some of the new farmers we now see across the island. Roads. Just last week, I conducted a survey of the feeder roads with an engineer from Public Works. We measured 9 feeder roads in Wesley and in Woodford Hill. We took measurements for the Poor Man's Corner Road from the junction at Central Square going up to Tank. And we went at the end of Batiste, we took measurements for there, and we took measurements for the Batiste back road just at the back of Mount Obed. There is no name for that, so I hope the village council think about giving that road a name. Then we continue to Paradise View because the road there was, it stopped at a certain junction, and we took the measurements for there. We also went to Eden Road at the back road of Eden. That one doesn't have a name either, and we need to get a name for there. I'm not going to include the Woodford Hill main road in this because we already did the survey for the Woodford Hill main road, and to do the actual work for the concrete and drainage, it's $1.2 million to do that. So this will be done in phases because we're taking it from the entrance when you're coming from Wesley all the way up past the school to Big Cedar. The Jumbie Peace Road for clearing and landslides, because I think a few years back there were landslides there and that road there was some obstruction, so it's not motorable. So we did the survey for there, and to do the drains and to tarnish the road and to clear all the debris, it's $66,000 to do that. And this was approved by the Minister of Finance, and the check will be at the Village Council office to commence this work. This road is important as it provides a service to the students and farmers in the area. The students from the Northeast Comprehensive and farmers in the area. We did the measurement for Joe Road. Some of those for Woodford Hill, I will, detail them at the next town hall meeting in Woodford Hill. But we did some for Joe Road, Pan Lake Road, and the road leading to the playing field by Shilling, and the small farm back road. There is also, I also presented a estimate for roadworks to be done from the police station going up to the Methodist Church, because we need to do some work there, and from the Christian Union Church going down to Eden Road. And that was approved this morning, and work should commence soon for those roads. So we're trying to improve the road network in Wesley. Work is ongoing on the Joe Burton, Mangrove Gutter, and Mon Ramier Road. I drove up the site, and one can appreciate the preparatory work, especially from Joe to Mangrove Gutter, where the width of the road increased significantly. At Mon Ramier, farmers are pleased with the progress. Indeed, Labour is working in this constituency. We are working to ensure that with your help, Wesley and Woodford Hill will return to the winning side. Again, for your information, vegetation maintenance will soon commence on the Burton Road. This will help with the overgrown shrubs and grass, which causes obstruction and wear and tear on vehicles. My proposal is to make the road fully concreted instead of these wheel tracks, in certain areas. I drove by and understand the difficulties farmers are experiencing on that road. On the main road from Menvin Hall to Hodges, 3 maintenance crew and vegetation crew are contracted to keep the side road clean and clear from overgrown grass to ensure that the motorists and pedestrians have good view of the oncoming traffic. Also at the back of John B. Priest Road, we have a 3-month contract which is renewable, and it was awarded, and that person is contracted to maintain the road and ensure that it is clear from debris. Pit latrine eradication. With some of the misinformation circulated from uninformed parliamentarian from Wesley constituency, there is nothing happening in Wesley according to him. This report will this report here will demonstrate to you how far-fetched and far behind he is. There is more to representation than sitting behind a desk writing letters. You have to live among the people. You have to get a sense of what their needs are, so you can advocate on their behalf. A comprehensive list of all the persons with pit latrine and those without was carried out in Wesley and Woodford Hill. 98 pit latrines for Woodford Hill and 89 for Wesley. I have an approval for the first 20 pit latrine, toilets, but pit latrine eradication. So we get in 20 toilets for Wesley. And the monies will be, it was approved just this week, and the monies will be at the village council. So 20 persons will be receiving new toilets. This is just the first phase of the eradication process. So we will follow the modules used in other constituencies to ensure all washrooms constructed are operational and completed. When you notice that your neighbor washroom is being built, don't fret. Your turn will come. Key to the successful implementation of these toilets is the success of the CBI program. So when they construct signs saying, "Scared must go," tell them, yes, another 5 years. It is also critical for you to know that this is a policy of the Dominica Labour Party and could easily disappear under another administration. Housing assistance from the government is not, housing assistance from the government is not a must. What has happened since this government took office is what is so popularly known as the housing revolution. It took a government with compassion to assist the most vulnerable among us, the elderly, single parents, and those who just need a helping hand. So if your request is pending, please be patient, your time will come. I will speak with individuals to inform them if they need to provide additional information. The National Employment Program. In the Wesley constituency, we have 38 persons contracted under the National Employment Program. 20 from Wesley and 18 from Woodford Hill. Young persons are engaged at the Wesley and Woodford Hill Primary School as teacher mentors, food prep aid, library assistants. At the both preschools in Wesley, we have young persons contracted there. We have young persons contracted with the environmental health, with the Woodford Hill Village Council as Yes We Care providers, with the Northeast Comprehensive Agricultural Program, and cleanup and beautification. Every person contracted under the NEP program live in the communities of Wesley and Woodford Hill. I am presently looking to engage someone from Palm Tree soon to provide care for at least 3 elderly persons in that area. I say this because you should be aware that when you receive your payments, as I am just reiterating this, the money circulated is spent in your community. Young mothers take so much pride in what they do. And they provide, I listen to some of the caregivers when they talk about the elderly persons that they take care of. They have so much compassion for them. They are supposed to work 5 days a week, but in certain cases when they have no one to take care for them on the weekend, they still go on a Saturday and a Sunday to take care of those persons. They prepare food and they bring to them. So it's, for them, they are very compassionate about what they do. And it is a need. It is a huge need. You know, I just also want to inform you that 3 NEP persons, well, that's a duplication of my stuff. You know, this government invested in Dominica and the infrastructure and have a lot to do with the success of how the Prime Minister is able to lobby on our behalf. So I encourage you to just ignore those little signs you see. You know, just let it go, brush it off. You remember the thing Jay-Z said? Shake it off your shoulder, just brush it off. You know, and focus. Focus on what is important. Focus on what is right for you. To the Dominican diaspora, a big shout out to you, especially for your interest. You tune in to hear factual information presented by this credible Labour Party government. I encourage you to help us promote all that is positive about your homeland. Refrain from circulating negative stuff about Dominica. We are becoming a household name in the region and the world, and it's because of the smart work of this government. Your responsibility is to help us sustain this upward movement, because when Dominica shine, you sparkle and reap the benefits coming from an island which is held in high regard. You are a vital part of the mix, so play your part always in a positive manner. To the Wesley diaspora, let me remind you that you should start preparing for the second Wesley reunion due in the summer of 2018. I really do appreciate this opportunity to address you this evening and promise to continue working tirelessly on your behalf. Thank you.
I want to say to you from the onset that Miss Benjamin is fighting for you. Yes. I want you to know. Whenever she meets me, in whatever forum, she always represents the Wesley farmer. I want you to know that. She asks about your feeder roads. She wants to know about the farmers who are working on the government land presently, and she wants to know what's going to be happening to them. She wants to know about how you're going to have easier access to the funds at the aid bank, and I will share more of that with you tonight. So we will start with the facility at the aid bank, and I'm happy to see so many young people and women here tonight who are the targeted persons for the facility government has created at the aid bank. As you know, government created that facility some $10 million was established at the Aid Bank for on-lending to you, the farmers, to assist you with increasing production for the export markets and for local food security, but more for the export market. And of course, I'm happy to report that since we've been going across the island and informing the farmers of the facility, we have seen an increased number of farmers going to the Aid Bank, following the guidelines given and meeting the requirement for access to these funds. As I say to all the farmers that I meet, that in the past, government placed funds directly in the Ministry of Agriculture through what is known as the AIU, and a number of farmers benefited through these facilities, but the checks and balances could not have been effected, and so some of our farmers took advantage of these facilities. Some got funds, never utilized it for the purpose they got it, and some started and left it, some paid their passage the next morning. A lot of things happened. But the funds are placed in the Aid Bank as a form of facilitating you. So the farmer must first go to his extension office, of which he will discuss with his extension officers. They will assist him with some document to indicate that he has been a farmer for how long, or he is presently cultivating crops in the various areas. He's presently involved in livestock farming, whether it's chicken, pork, and other animals, goats, you name it, or he's involved in fishing, and he will get a recommendation from his extension officer of his area. And he will then go to the bank and start negotiating for his soft loan. The loans are in a number of categories. And the government, through the wisdom of the Prime Minister, ensured that there was a category in that facility that will meet the small farmers, that will meet the hard-working farmers who has been doing this mixed cropping for all of these years, that will meet the elderly farmer who's coming to retirement, having worked in agriculture all of their lives, and can no longer put in all of the labor hours that they need to put in. So therefore they need to hire a few laborers from time to time to assist them in whether it's just to prepare the beds of yams, or to clean the dashing, or to manage the planting holes, or whatever the case may be. You have a facility created for you at the Aid Bank that you can now go to. Now, in everything, there has to be conditions. So the Aid Bank will present to you its conditions, and we expect you to work with your extension and ensure that you get your facility. So for those of you here, and I trust that the over 75 farmers who have received their disbursement of funds, some of the farmers, quite a few of the farmers, are from Wesley. So for between $1,000 and $15,000, no collateral is required, but you must have a guaranteed market for your produce. What the Aid Bank is saying to you is, if you're coming to get a loan and you're going into 2 acres of sweet potatoes, you should at least know who you are working with, so that when your crop is ready, you have a market for your produce. And that is why we are saying to farmers, the Dexter that is here today is not the one that you used to pound on before. Dexter has opened its packing houses in Roseau and in Portsmouth, and a number of hucksters are now making their orders for their produce through the pack houses. So we're suggesting to you that you engage persons of the pack houses through Dexter. You enter into a contract, and you are producing for a particular market. So you know exactly where your market is. And agriculture cannot be done like it used to be done in the past. When we were in the peak of the banana industry, we had this ready market through Gist and so on. So you know, every fortnight you would sell your bananas. I'll come to that because we're going to go back to that. But now you need to know exactly who you are working with, whether it's through your hucksters, through other exporters, through the packing houses, so that if you're going into agriculture on a commercial scale, you have your market. This is why we had a glut of dashing last year. Because when, after the drought of 2014, we assisted farmers across the island. Everybody got some fertilizer, however small. And we had an increased number of farmers going into dashing. And then because all of these acres of dashing were coming to ripe almost at the same time, though a lot of dashing were being exported, but we definitely had a glut of dashing. So we had an oversupply of dashing for a period of time. But now dashing is going out, my dear people. We have a number of exporters. Windfresh is now on board. Windfresh is buying dashing. They're sending 2 containers out monthly of some well over 45,000 pounds. And then you have the pack house in Portsmouth with a number of requests for dashing. And we still have our hucksters, which we must always support. We have our hucksters who are pushing dashing out and so on. So there is market, my dear people, for your agricultural and produce. But to continue, for farmers who are looking for a loan between $15,000 and $30,000, you need 1 guarantor. Because you are asking for $15,000 to $40,000, which is a reasonable amount of fund that you are requesting. And for farmers, and I'm talking about our real commercial farmers now, who are looking for $75,000 and above, because it's a $10 million facility, there is funds for that. You need a certificate of title and a proper guarantor as well. So I'm saying to you, the commercial farmers of Wesley, if you are going into commercial farming on such a scale, where you're looking for at least $75,000 to go into agriculture, you must ensure that you have a market for that produce. You need to know who you're working with, who your exporter is going to be, and the exporter will demand the quality that they're looking for, the size they're looking for, because different markets require a different size of produce. For instance, for dashing, the British market is asking for between 3.5 to 7 pounds. So that's big dashing. So therefore you need to know the exact spacing. You cannot do it on your own. You have to work with your extension officers to ensure that you get the technical support that you need. And sometimes farmers say to me, they come to my office in Roseau, and they say to me, I do not see my extension officer. Go to them, find them where they are, and invite them to your farm. Set a date with them, and ensure that they keep that date, and you keep the date as well, so that they can give you the technical support you need. Because agriculture is a business. Agriculture cannot be done in the same way it used to be done before. So I'm saying to you, the farmers, those of you from Wesley who have not gone to the aid bank to take advantage of the facility, please visit the aid bank and get some support. Whether you're only thinking of $3,000 to go into vegetables. Vegetables, most of the vegetables will be ready within 3 months, 4 months for the most. Cucumber is just 6 weeks. And you have cucumber or lettuce is just about 6 weeks as well. And think of you going to contract a loan of $4,000 to go into vegetables, and within 4 months, you can be marketing this vegetable, and you have a 6-month grace period. So there's an advantage for you if you take it serious. But you must take it serious and put the hours. The habit of just rushing to the farm because nobody's supervising you, and after 2 hours you're back home on the block, cannot work. If agriculture is your job, then you must give it at least 8 hours a day, and then come home in the evening, because this is what you're doing for a living. If you have a market, you must maintain it. The habit of planting something, and once you get it sold, it's over till you're ready again to go back and farm again. That cannot continue. You're going to have to start going into farming and stagger your crops. If it's every 3 months, or every 2 months, every month, you plant a certain amount. And farmers must diversify. You must have a number of crops. I always say, if you're planting plantain, there must be tanya on the plantain. And there must be pumpkin on the plantain. Because plantain takes 9 months before you get a crop. And therefore you have to be able to plant so that in between you are making some money and so on. But you're always into harvesting something. So I'm just saying all of this to let you know, my dear people, that people are making money in agriculture. But it's those who are taking it seriously, those who are prepared to go through the grind, And you have to produce quality product because the market demands top quality product. Remember, it's a competitive world now. Our traditional source of markets, which we used to think were ours in St. Martin and St. Kitts and Antigua and Tortola and the BVI and the USVI and so on, all of the other islands are bringing in agricultural produce into these islands. Santo Domingo is competing for us, Dominican Republic. So therefore we have to produce quality. And we must ensure that when these products are harvested, we do not overpack the cartons and all of the small things that we used to take advantage of before. So the support is there. We are in the ministry, we are ready and willing to help any farmer who goes to the aid bank and is encountering difficulty. You can come and see us at the ministry and we'll assist you. Fishing. This is a major fish landing area. And we've done a lot of investments at the complex in Marigot. And when we do development in this area, it's for the entire area. It's for you, the people of Marigot, Wesley, Woodford Hill. You just name the entire zone. And so the advancement we have done in upgrading the ice machine, in spending over $1 million at the fishing complex in Marigot, is for you to ensure that every fisherman from this area who goes to sea goes out fishing with ice on his boat. So he brings in a wholesome product. He meets the phytosanitary measures and to meet the standard for export. We know that a lot of fish is being exported from the Marigot Fisheries Complex. So the facility at the aid bank is also for you, the fishermen of this area, of Wesley, of Marigot. Go to the aid bank. For those of you who may just require an outboard motor engine or a better boat, repairs to your boat, getting your fishing tackles and other things. So the opportunity is there for you to advance yourself. Forget about all of this noise. People will always talk. But your destiny depends on you. You must know what you want as an individual and you must advance yourself. Because rest assured, the persons who are criticizing the government programs are taking advantage of it. They go on the radio in the morning, they have an hour program. As soon as the program is over, they come to the ministry for their support. We are seeing an increase in persons who are doing export of agricultural produce. And we are happy about that.
Yes.
This is why we're putting this investment.
That's right.
So that persons can go and go into export of agricultural produce. So let's ensure that we give them the quality so that we can secure markets out there. So I want to really appeal to you, the people of the Wesley area, to take advantage of the opportunities that we are creating for you. I heard your Miss Ophelia Benjamin said that Londonderry is part of the Wesley constituency. So I learned something today. So the Londonderry Tissue Culture Facility is in your constituency. And we just spent $180,000 to rehabilitate that facility. Yes. So we will be moving a lot of tissue culture plants for hardening here in Londonderry. So presently we have some banana plants at the facility in Portsmouth being wind. When they're ready for hardening, some of it will be moved to Londonderry in Wesley. Yes. So therefore, you must benefit from that facility. And don't be afraid to make your request through your extension officers. Additionally, we invested $845,000 invested in equipment for this facility. We bought potting trays and potting bags and you just name it for the facility to support you, the farmers in this area. This major retaining wall you are seeing presently under construction in the Londonderry River. to the tune of some $2.2 million. After Erica, government had to redivert funds to invest in the facility, that major wall that you see, to protect the playing field and the facility that we have there, and to reconstruct the road in that area. So that's a major investment going on right now as we speak for you, the people. Okay? The Central Livestock Farm is also in your area that we have in London area as well, in that area. So government has not forgotten you, the hardworking farmers of Wesley. And whenever government is distributing fertilizer, rest assured that Wesley gets its share of these fertilizers and so on. Recently, we took a decision in the Ministry of Agriculture that we will reduce the fertilizer to farmers at $45 a bag. We've just ordered another container of fertilizer to be sold at $45 a bag to you, the farmers. And we are in the process of clearing the fertilizer from Morocco, which we received recently. And rest assured that your humble servant here, Ms. Afinia Benjamin, will be representing Wesley to ensure that Wesley gets its fair share of the fertilizer coming out of the government of Morocco to the government of people of Dominica. So we really want you to take your farming seriously. I know you have a farmers group here. I want to say to you, the farmers of Wesley, if you are to benefit holistically, you cannot do it alone. Please ensure that you are registered with the Wesley Farmers Group, so that when Miss Benjamin is making representation, she's doing it on behalf of all of you, the members of the group. There are some people, they do not want to be part of any structure, but they want to benefit from everything. They will not attend the meeting. They don't want to be part of the group. But as soon as they know the group has something to distribute, they want to be the one to get first. But it cannot happen that way. You have to be part of the structure of the group. You have to support the group and ensure that the group stands strong by putting your input into the group. Okay? So I want to say to you, support Miss Benjamin for what she's doing for you. And we will continue to support you, my dear people of Wesley. Now you heard of the much talk about banana company measures, BAM feeder roads. There are areas in Dominica who did not benefit from the BAM feeder roads. And you have here in Wesley the Mango Gutter feeder road under the Banana Company Measures BAM program. And there is also the Melvin Hall feeder road. The Vauxhall Bridge was not part of the BAM program, but it was washed out by Tropical Storm Erica. And we have constructed a wonderful bridge for you, the people in this area, in the Vauxhall area. So when you hear them say, government is not seeing the people of Wesley and Marigot, that's absolutely not true. Because there are other areas, farming communities, who lost the bridge during Erica, and it has not been constructed. But because of the number of farmers, important farmers from the Marigot area, farming in this Vauxhall area, we have to ensure that we construct this bridge for the farmers of the Vauxhall area. And when we are working in this government and in this Ministry of Agriculture, we are looking at the farming community, not just Labour Party farmers. How many of Labour Party farmers do I know across the island? But we are thinking of the farming sector in general. So while some people are talking, we have to keep on working for you, the farmers. So we have 3 projects being assisted here in this area coming out of the BAM feeder roads. And rest assured, you the farmers whom your feeder roads were not covered under the BAM program. Government has identified an additional $10 million for feeder roads, and we will be assisting farmers in the other areas which are not covered under the BAM program. However, we need you to adopt these feeder roads. We want you to take care of them, to maintain them, because government haven't got the money to send workers in every little farming corner to maintain feeder roads. So you, the farmers of the area, you're going to have to adopt this road as your road leading to your farm and maintain it. Keep the drains clean, clear it off all branches, coconuts, whatever. That's your responsibility. And we play our part by giving you the road. You will play your part by maintaining these feeder roads. So I said to you, the farmers of Wesley, that you must take your agriculture seriously if that's your livelihood. One of the things that I must never forget to say is young farmers in particular, you must ensure that you register with the Dominica Social Security and pay your self-employment contribution to the scheme. Because if you do not do that, when you will be of age, you will have no retirement benefit whatsoever. I want to appeal to our young people who are going into agriculture, because you are now self-employed, that's your business. Our young people who are in fishing, our young people who open up their small business, and this is what they want to do, whether it's in small agro-processing, all of you must register with the Dominican Social Security and pay your self-employment contribution, so that if you fall sick, you have something to turn to. I want to also refer to the funds at the NDFD. Government placed funds there for farmers as well. Okay? All of the hotels in the north that is being constructed presently, they are going to need a large supply of agricultural produce, because there are heavy hotels being built, and this is a very, very serious agricultural belt. So we will have a lot of discussion tonight. I want you to know that the abattoir, we are processing rapidly and abattoir as we speak, chicken and pork for the local markets. I want to encourage you to buy local. We want to increase the consumption of pork and poultry coming out of the abattoir, so we can increase in the production of chicken and pigs for the abattoir. But it all depends on the volume of our consumption that will determine our processing pattern. So it's very important that you, the people of Wesley, increase in your consumption of local meat. There is a challenge with the foreign meat. Those of us who listened on the radio about a month ago, you would have heard what happened in Brazil. There had to be a temporary ban on corned beef. And it wasn't on corned beef alone. They were processing chickens too. So take heed and start buying local. Start supporting what is ours. If you purchase chickens from the abattoir, you are assisting in creating jobs, not only for the facility, but for the farmers who are involved in rearing chicken and in the pork production. So I want you to know that there is money to be made in agriculture, but you must be prepared to take advantage of it. I want you to know that people are making a lot of money in agriculture, but it's only those who decide to work hard. As Ms. Benjamin said, there are persons who come here from foreign land and they have gone into agriculture and they are making a lot of money. If you go to the market on Saturday, half of the persons who are selling in the market are not Dominicans, but they are involved in agriculture and they are making money. So therefore you can make money too, but you must be willing to put the time, the quality time, the hard work, and to deliver for yourself. Because for most of you, this is your livelihood, agriculture. You send your children to school in agriculture. And therefore, if persons can come out of Dominica, rent your land, pay you the rent, and still make enough money to survive and to sell overseas, you can do it too. And so I want you to take advantage of all of the opportunities in agriculture that we are talking about. Please ensure that you're producing for the export markets and for the local markets, and let the Ministry of Agriculture give you all the support you need to succeed, because agriculture will remain part of the backbone of this country's economy. And we are making millions of dollars in agriculture. You too must make and can continue to make your share in Wesley. Thank you very much.
I remember being at the Woodford Hill Town Hall meeting, and also just last week I was also at an inauguration of the Village Council in Woodford Hill, and here I'm in Wesley. I seem to be visiting this part of the country very often these days. But I really want to thank your caretaker, Mr. Tinia Benjamin, for inviting me here to Wesley this evening. And as you know, this is a continuation of a series of town hall meetings that your government would be taking on the road, because we feel that we have the duty and the mandate also to educate our people on our policies, our work programs, and to bring you, of course, up to date with the work that we're doing. And you heard, of course, Mr. Tinia Benjamin as your caretaker, and the Minister of Agriculture. Of course, I'm giving an account, very concise account tonight. Normally he speaks for 3 hours. Very concise account of his stewardship as far as the Minister of Agriculture. And I tell people, you can say what you want about Johnson Drago, but he is a very, very hard worker. And I think it is and hard work always brings reward, my dear friend. Trust me. Now, today's meeting is also very significant because we are having this meeting in a community or constituency that did not vote the incumbent government. And why is this significant? Because it shows that, first and foremost, the relentless nature of your caretaker, Mr. Tinia Benjamin, in the first instance, and it also shows that we as a government, we are relentless and we are fearless. And I want to repeat the word fearless in our endeavor to reach out to our people. In other words, we fear no one. We fear no one, and we tell everybody, bring it on, whatever it is that you need to know, bring it on. So we venture where others dare not to venture, and we are very open. And as your caretaker said earlier, all we're asking is that when you make your contributions, be it criticism, be it commendations, be it recommendations, that you do it in a respectful way. Okay, mutual respect, and we can live happily ever after, like in the fairy tales. So as I said, this is all part of our endeavor to reach out to each and every nook and cranny in Dominica to educate you, and of course, as I said, to hear from you, to interact with you. Of course, I'm here this evening in my capacity as a member of the Cabinet of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and more specifically as a Minister of Health and the Environment, and also to, like my colleague Johnson Drago did, to give an account of my stewardship. And I will begin, of course, with the new National Hospital, because this is arguably government's flagship project. What is probably going to be this administration's probably most memorable or most, how would I put it, most impactful project to date and probably ever. Why? Because health is something that affects each and every one of us. And every one of us sitting here, at some point in time, we are or will access the National Hospital, whether it's the current PMH or the new facility that's being built. And I really want to report to the people of West End, of course, all those listening via, I think, Kyrie FM and Facebook Live, whatever it is, whatever source of medium that we have. I really want to take this opportunity, like we've done many times before, to thank the People's Republic of China for this tremendous gift. We are talking about a $40 million gift. $40 million, this is converted to 108 million EC dollars. And by any stretch of the imagination, this is one valuable gift. Okay, so the People's Republic of China, and I want to take a pause there to note why to know why I really want to underscore this. Because we recall, and I recall, I wasn't in politics at the time when we made this bold move towards establishing relations with the People's Republic of China. And a lot was said by the opposition, like they keep on saying. And I mean, what else is there? They've been talking for the past 17 years. And they will still remain where they are. Because being in government is not all about talk. And Athenia, I can call her Athenia because we are friends, we are family. I can call her Athenia if you don't mind, and not Miss Benjamin. And Athenia said it right, okay, that it's easy to pick up a microphone or go on a political pulpit and talk. Okay, it's easy to stay in a radio station and run your mouth. It's easy to sit down at a computer keyboard and just put whatever it is you want, okay? However, when you're in government and you have to deal with the bread and butter issues of the everyday man, it's a different story. And I'll tell you why. We have a perfect example in the region, and I mean, out of respect for our sister island, I will refrain from really calling names, but a lot of you who follow regional news, and most of us here internet and computer savvy would know, there's a sister island in the region that is suffering the fate that the opposition would like us to suffer. The current administration, while in opposition, they lambast the country's citizenship by investment program, which was the country's #1 source of revenue at the time, and which was the source of funding for the country doing well in tourism and all the infrastructure, hotels, and resettlements, etc. So while in opposition, they came up with all this rhetoric, all this negative rhetoric that is the very same thing that you hear the opposition going day in, day out about. Granted, they won the government by coalition. Hey, it's not going to happen here, okay? There's no way, okay, that the opposition is going to win election. Okay, but granted that I think they joined forces, two different opposition members, they joined forces and they won a general election. Now, they found themselves in government. Listen to me carefully. So while in opposition, of course, it's easy. I tell people it's much like a domino table while guys on the outside, you know, and they see fellas playing and everybody knows what they should play. But when you come to sit to play, it's a different ballgame because you're on your own now and you have to make certain decisions. So here they are in government now and they find themselves now having to now run a country and they're clueless. Why? Because they destroyed the country's main source of revenue at the time. So right now, as this Calypso said, the cranana, they find themselves hitting rock bottom. Okay, so this is a lesson that we have to learn here in Dominica. And we are not saying, and of course I will talk a little bit about it later, we are not saying that our citizens cannot express concerns about certain things that are happening. And of course you're free to express concerns, especially as it pertains to the CBI program. There have been a number of regional institutions and even the new U.S. ambassador, or rather the recent U.S. ambassador, she offered words of advice to us. She said there's nothing wrong with the program. All she's asking is that the countries, the region, take extra measures to ensure that crooks and criminals don't enter our shores. And I tell people, this coming from the U.S. ambassador, the U.S. which has one of the most robust, one of the most rigorous immigration rules in the world. Yet we still have people infiltrating the U.S. and committing what they call homegrown terrorism. That is after they would have, of course, passed all the tests, all the immigration tests. If they get their green card or whatever immigration citizen status, then they went ahead and committed their crime. So are you going to blame the system for that? No, because they would have committed the crime after they would have passed all the rigorous tests of even the great US of A. So it's much like our program. We're not saying that we cannot express concerns, okay, with the system and suggest and recommend ways to better it. But the idea that the CBI program, like they're making some of you to believe and they're preying on maybe the naivety of some of you, to make you believe that is this evil and sinister program where myself, John Owen, and Honorable Cassius Darrow that we're going around with passports in a briefcase selling, go to New York and London and stand up in the middle of the town square and call fellas, come here, come, how much you give me? You know what? No, it's serious, okay? We have to dispel this idea. So while we welcome the suggestions, we welcome the genuine concerns about the program, and your government would have committed into making the adjustments in terms of bettering your due diligence, etc. But don't ever make them lead you to believe that this is some evil sort of program. Because I'm telling you, especially post-tropical storm Enrique, where Dominica lost over 90% of its gross domestic product. Tropical America left us with $1.4 billion in debt. And I say billion, people, I say the one with the B, not the M, the one with 9 zeros, not the one with the 6 zeros. $1.4 billion. A lot of what we see happening there would have come to a halt were it not from funds from the Citizenship by Investment Program. In fact, I dare say the very same, for example, public service, okay, that right now we know they rallying for a raise, and it's all good. I want to raise myself. I don't think I'm being paid enough for the up and down and the work and the pressure that I get as a government minister. I want a raise. I think I deserve a raise too. Okay? But they have to understand that after this $1.4 billion debt that Erica left us, that it had to take this government, it had to take a miracle and the effort of this government that first of all, that we did not raise any taxes to help in rebuilding Dominica, number one. And in fact, I'm sure people would have understood if the government had come to them to say, listen, we need to raise funds, so you need to take a pay cut. But none of this happened. In fact, ever since Erica, I want to dare anybody sitting here tell me whether any public servant received their salary late, like it happened 17 years ago. Public servants have been receiving their pay on time after Erica. So it goes to show, as I said, that we want to thank God. And God is not asleep. God is alive. I sound like a preacher. God is alive. And God is a good God. That there was this source of revenue called the Citizenship by Investment Program. Those of you who for the CBI. And God will continue to bless the CBI program to make it as successful as it has been. Because God knows that we need this extra source of revenue to continue to develop our people and to continue to develop our country. So I want each and every one of you God-fearing citizens of the Wesley and the Stud Maricourt or Wootsie, wherever you're from here, that I want each and every one of you, if you those of you who believe in the Roman Catholics, you roll your rosaries, the Protestants, you can go ahead and jump and pray. Those of us the Muslims, we can pray to Allah to pray that God will continue to bless this program. And I tell people we make no apologies for the CBI, and long live the CBI program. So my task, sorry, I got a bit carried away because I get very passionate about this. The new national hospital, I mentioned that it was a $40 million gift from the People's Republic of China. A gift, meaning that we don't have to pay back one black cent. 108 million EC dollars. And those of you who would have visited the PMH in recent time would have seen the smooth progress of work on the new national hospital. And I want to report also to the country that a lot of the issues that we fought, the potential issues that we thought we would have had in building a new hospital on an existing or an active hospital site, a lot of these issues have been kept to a minimum. And I don't want to rehash the whole issue of why we didn't go to a new site. In fact, I've said that many times before in the media. Yes, it would have been preferable to go to a new site and to eliminate all of these concerns. However, we were advised by the experts, both locally, regionally, and internationally, because of the demographics, population spread, etc., that it would be more prudent to build it on the current site. And this told us and advised us that it had been done many times before, and there's no reason why it couldn't be done in Dominica. And so far, again, there's a good God above. So in spite of all of the wishful thinking of a few negative people wishing that things go bad with the construction of a new hospital that's going to better the health sector for each and every one of us, so far things are progressing smoothly thanks to a good God above. So as I said, work continues to progress smoothly. Our Chinese counterparts at the Union Construction team, which have been engaged to construct the hospital, have told us that they will deliver to us this new state-of-the-art hospital in 30 months, meaning 2.5 years. And as I've said many times before, knowing the way the Chinese work, at the end of 29 months and 29 days, rest assured that we will have the keys to a new functioning hospital. So what you see happening now would be the construction of the first two buildings, what they call the accident and emergency building, which is going to be a modern, what they like to call a casualty building, complete with theaters and a second building to house the x-rays, laboratories, etc. So the hospital is going to be done in phases. Sorry, because it's being done on a current hospital site or an active site, a functioning site, it has to be done in phases, meaning we have to build a temporary building, move whatever we are going to demolish into the temporary building, build the permanent structure, and move back in. So this is the way it's going to be done. And I said, thank God that so far, so good, that all of the concerns, all of the little nuances we thought would have happened have been kept to a minimum. So those people who said that it was a political gimmick, some said it was just an election gimmick, among many other things, calypsos were made about it, hospitals in the sky. I told them that the hospital in the sky have landed. And from the look on some people's faces or expression when I talk about it, you could see that it landed on some of them toes because they're very, very. So not only are we going to have a brand new state-of-the-art building, this hospital is also going to be equipped with brand new equipment. There will be some equipment that would come with the project, such as an MRI. Those of us maybe among us who would maybe know a bit what others means. I think if I remember correctly, if I didn't forget my medicine, magnetic resonance imaging. And quite a few of us maybe would know that in the past we would have to maybe go to Antigua, Barbados to perform such a test. So the project comes with an MRI and also what we call a high-frequency ultrasound cancer tumor treating ultrasound equipment. Okay, now this is what the project comes with, of course, with all the other what they call standard equipment that comes with a hospital. However, I would have given directives to the Ministry of Health that they need to prepare for me a complete set of equipment. So whatever it is that the project doesn't come with, which is befitting of a new modern hospital, rest assured that your government will procure this equipment. So you're not just going to have a new building, it's going to be well equipped with new modern state-of-the-art equipment. In addition to the new equipment, your Ministry of Health and your government would have also taken steps to ensure that this hospital is properly staffed. And for a few years in running now, we would have seen an increase in the number of our students going on to specialize in exciting, what I like to call exciting new services. I'm a medical doctor myself, so I get passionate when I talk about these things, so please excuse me. In new exciting services, services that never existed before, services that otherwise in the past you would have to go overseas to see a nephrologist, that's to do with the kidney, to see an oncologist, geriatrics, elderly people, emergency care, intensive care, among many others. So in the next 2 to 3 years, we should see all of this. Local people, Dominicans who speak Kokoy and Patois. Okay, so those of us who accuse us sometimes of having too many foreign doctors. And again, we say we make no apologies for the foreign doctors because they would have held our hands in the tipping stages, the Cubans and the Chinese who come to help us. So while some criticize them, we say we thank them for they having held our hands until such time as we can now train our own local doctors who will speak the Patois and the Kokoy to understand everybody to now work in this new national hospital. But all of these things, people, as I said before and I've said many times before, would be almost futile if the new hospital and the services and the equipment is not accessible or affordable to each and every Dominican. In other words, whatever it is that we're building now, whatever it is that the doctors we're training, these services, each and everybody, from what I call Joe Millionaire to Joe Pauper, has to have equal access to this hospital. And of course, this is one of the hallmarks. This is one of the hallmarks of this Dominica Labour Party administration. And again, we make no apology for helping people. There among us will always be people, okay, who cannot help themselves. There will be less fortunate people. And the good book, the Bible says so, okay, blessed are the poor, okay, for theirs is the kingdom of God, or words to that effect, right, Teacher Glow? Thank you very much. Okay, so we make no apologies for helping the less fortunate. So of course it would be nice and dandy if everybody can afford these expensive or these high cost health insurance policies. But the truth, the harsh reality is only a small percentage of us among here. I bet if I make a survey, there probably just 1 or 2 of us in here, okay, who would have health insurance policies. The majority of us do not earn enough to afford a health insurance policy. So this is why the government has now made moves. And I really want to take a pause here to explain this, because sometimes people talk like it's just this administration, okay, that would have spoken about these things. No. All over the world, countries, even developed countries, have grappled with the idea of what they call universal health coverage. Again, those of us who listen to news, just remember Obama and Obamacare. Okay, this is what it was designed to do, to capture the less fortunate in society, because we do not want them falling through the cracks. The system has to provide for the less fortunate. So, while before many people would have spoken about it decades ago, I mean, when I took over the mantle as the Minister of Health, I mean, I went through several volumes of documentation ranging back 30, 40 years ago, where governments in the past would have spoken or discussed what they call universal health coverage or national health insurance. But you see, this Labour Party administration, like it or not, we're not all about talk. We do not just talk the talk, okay? We walk the walk. And it had to take this Labour Party administration to implement what we call the National Health Insurance, which was launched just a couple of weeks ago, where we have $5 million would have been budgeted in this financial year to what they call a pilot project, targeting women 45 years and below and children 3 years and under. And those of you who care to follow the news or to listen and look at things that make sense and positive things would have seen the testimonial of a young lady and her 8-month baby, I think, who would have already benefited from such a scheme. So this is a pilot program, as the word suggests, pilot, meaning that we are starting out with this vulnerable age group, and then the plan is that, or the intention is that we see how it goes, learn from the mistakes, do a little tweaking here, a little tweaking here, and then gradually we continue to add other vulnerable groups until each and every Dominican who has to be captured will be captured under this National Health Insurance Program. So the hospital is not just going to be built to look at you and then you say, well, I cannot afford the MRI, or I cannot afford that service. Each and every one of you will eventually be covered and will be able to access the services free to each and every one. Again, this $5 million, what they call capital fund to start up this pilot project, comes from the Citizenship by Investment Program. So those of them saying that the CBI is not working and of course we hear some of them talking about I don't want to call his name. Whoever went on TV to talk about the CBI program, this is when we start spending CBI money. Tell them, okay, go back. Tell them, go and read, go for a change. Okay, go and get yourselves educated, go and get yourselves informed. Go back to the budget estimates this year and last year, and you will see which of government programs were carried to be funded by our CBI program. So stop talking rubbish about this because whoever went on TV, whatever, that is why we're spending CBI money. Okay, so this pilot project, as I said, we fear less people, we fear no one. Okay, rest assured, I in particular fear no one. So while some make it appear that this national health insurance was something that we just woke up overnight and we say we're going to put $5 million, this is a program, a pilot program that we've spoken about for years, and it has been approved by the Pan American Health Organization. You heard the gentleman speak at the luncheon and we spoke highly of this program. So we had outside help, people came in, review the program, they tell us, listen, it's a nice program, let's see how it works out. It's a pilot program, we can do changes afterwards, but we think it's a good start. And again, if God continues to bless us like he has, this Labour Party administration, I have no doubt that this pilot project will go smoothly, and pretty soon each and every Dominican will be covered under National Health Insurance Scheme. So again, those of you who pray the Rosary, Buddha, Allah, whoever you pray to, please continue to pray for us. I now move on to the somewhat controversial New Marigot Hospital. And again, Ms. Benjamin spoke to the New Marigot Hospital. And first and foremost, I want to place on the record, like I've done many times before, and those of us who care to read things that come from the other side, whatever the other side is, okay, would know that this Labour Party administration has always committed into building a new hospital in the Marigot or northeast of the island for a number of reasons. Part of our manifestos, our last 2 or 3 manifestos would show that has always been part of our plans to build a new hospital in the Marigot or northeast area for a number of reasons. Our, well, call it almost only airport is in that part of the island. A very strategic location for a hospital. And I've always been very upfront with the Dominican public, and I remember some time ago when the issue of the mold, and of course this would have been issues that I would have inherited as a Minister of Health, where first and foremost the building which served as the Marigot Hospital, from what I recall, would have been infested with termites. Then they would have moved to the basement, and which worked for a little while, or it wasn't the most optimal condition, but would have worked well for a while, until eventually this area was then affected by mold. From then on, we moved on to a temporary building to house what they call the primary healthcare services in Marigot and the emergency services in Wesley. And again, as we say, while this is not the optimal condition to work in, we think that it has been working fairly well. However, we don't sound like we're making excuses because of a number of reasons. Okay, we really had a slow start in the delay of the project. And again, I would have spoken ad nauseum as to why we had a slow start in the project, technical support among many others. But your government, recognizing the importance and the urgency, the exigency of building a hospital in Marigot, and recognizing the limitations and technical difficulties we have been getting off the ground, would have gone in and employed what they call a whole project unit within the Ministry of Health to eliminate what we call this sometimes slowness in the technical expertise we need in getting some of our projects off the ground. And of course, recognizing, of course, that the Marigot Hospital is very crucial, especially with the construction of the new National Hospital. So we would have engaged a project officer, an architect, and a couple other staff to ensure that all the projects within the Ministry of Health, we have the staff within the Ministry of Health to deliver them in an expeditious manner. Again, those of us who like to inform ourselves can go back to our budget estimates. If you don't know where to get a copy, you could come to the Ministry of Health tomorrow morning and ask my secretary to photocopy the whole estimates for you, if you like, so you could see for yourselves. For the past 2 years, we would have had $1.5 million budgeted towards improvement of the health services in Marigot, $300,000 towards the designs, and another $1.2 million to what I call upgrading the primary healthcare facility in Marigot. Again, I just spoke about the delays, and I said I don't want to make it sound like excuses. I've spoken about this ad nauseum. So what we did, as I said, is your government would have put this project management unit in place with the Ministry of Health. And also, in addition to that, we would have also shortlisted what they call a list of the leading design firms in Dominica, 3 of them, to deal with specifically the Marigot Health District or the Marigot Health issue. Already, a concept brief would have been prepared, ready for tendering to these firms. However, something happened about a month ago. And again, this is very significant. This is very important because you hear them braying. I like to use words that we are a rogue country and no government or no international organization wants to deliver us. Here comes the government of Mexico. Here comes the government of Mexico and came to that very same rogue government that nobody wants to deal with and committed $5 million to us, 13 million EC dollars. And we decided we are going to spend this money towards the construction of the Marigot Hospital. Of course, I want to add, I can tell you that even if Mexico didn't give us the money, we would have been from the CBI program, the CBI funds. The very same CBI program that they are trying to destroy. We would have built it anyway. So here comes the government of Mexico, and then they're saying that they're going to implement this new Marigot. I want you to take note of this. Like some of you people, make sure you write every word I say. You can record me, it's okay? Okay? So here comes the government of Mexico. Here comes the government of Mexico and tell us, yeah, we're going to help you guys. And we decided we're going to spend this money in the Marigot Hospital. Now, they're telling us that they're going to implement this project for what they call the United Nations Office for Project Services, UNOPS. Now, UNOPS is also a very experienced organization that's very experienced in designing and building hospitals. So we are saying, okay, seeing that they're going to implement the project through this agency, we may as well now ask them to just do the designs and probably most likely build the hospital. And they have assured us that with the modern building technology that they have at their disposal, that they can have this hospital ready and commissioned by August of 2018. So already government, your cabinet would have approved that we that we procure the design services through the UNOPS office. So rest assured that in the next month, the next 2 months, that you should see work starting on your new Marigot Hospital. Rest assured. Okay, so I really want you to take note of that, and you can hold me to that. Yes, just like that. In addition, especially for those who say that we do not take notice of constituencies or communities that do not vote for us. And again, I want you to refer. So sometimes when you see people engage us, and this is one of the reasons that we have in this town hall meeting, that we can educate our people so they can be empowered. So when people come just repeating stuff they hear on radio stations or nonsense they read on the internet, our people can be empowered to answer them. Again, you can go back to the estimates, the budget estimates of 2016, 2017, and you will see that we would have had $5 million from what they call DFID, that's some British funds, implemented by the Pan-American Health Organizations towards what they call upgrading health facilities around the island. And as the Minister of Health, the free facilities that we plan on upgrading would have been Marigot, Lapland, and Grand Bay. Now, the fact that we are now going to build a new facility that's in the Marigot Hospital, we are now asking PAO that since we're going to build a new Marigot Hospital, whatever money that would have been allocated towards upgrading the old facility, can we please use the money to now put in what they call solar power, renewable energy, to make it what they call self-containing, especially post-disasters, because we know Dominica is a very vulnerable country. So what we want to happen is that after hurricanes, after storms, whatever the case may be, a lot of times the health center is the first place to lose power, to lose water, but the health center has to continue functioning, especially in case of where we have people injured, etc. So this project is now set to make this health center what they call climate-proof, disaster-proof, so they can continue functioning. And again, the Marigot Hospital has been chosen to spend up in excess of $2 million to put in renewable energy, water system, etc. So those of you who think that we do not but you hear me keep on talking about the Marigot Hospital, so you might be asking, what about the health center? Because again, the experts have advised us that what existed before, meaning the Marigot Hospital and the health center being together, is not really optimal way to go. Okay, because you have to understand that in the case of Marigot, you would have had a hospital where, of course, you admit people, emergency room, etc., and the health center where people come on a daily basis for the maintenance drugs, to check their pressure, child care, maternal care, pregnant mothers, etc. That we have been advised to have them separated. So what we are saying that, given that the $5 million have been now donated or given to us by the Mexican government, the $1.5 million that we have budgeted from local funds, CBI money, okay, we are now going to upgrade, we are now going to remodel or begin to remodel the junior school in Marigot into a type 3 health center. We would have done several site visits to the area. The experts, the technical people would advise us that it can work, so we are now going to convert it into a type 3 health center. Of course, in the interim, while a hospital is being built, we'll make sure that we have a few beds, just in case we have a few admissions overnight temporarily. But it's going to serve as a type 3 health center. So this is going to be remodeled. So you're going to have your new Marigot Hospital on the ground where the old hospital existed, and your health center just a few feet away at the site of the old junior school, if I recall correctly. Again, the concept brief for the type 3 health center is ready for tendering and ready to go. In addition to this, as I said, we have a number of capital projects within the Ministry of Health. We are going in this financial year, we're supposed to build 4 health centers in Vickers, Collio, Newton, and Bellevue-Chopin to accommodate my people from Pitt-Savan that are being resettled in the Bellevue-Chopin area. I could spend the rest of the night speaking of programs within the Ministry of Health, okay, wonderful things happening. A lot of them benefiting each and everybody. And again, as Ms. Benjamin said, when these programs come on, we don't ask people who they voted for or who they support or blah, 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 none of this. I can speak to the Miracle Eye program, where a sure number of you would have been screened for cataracts and what they call pterygiums, and we are now awaiting the Venezuelans to come now to do the actual surgeries, and they should be here within the next few weeks. I can see clearly now a program map for screening school children, and I'm sure they would have been in the primary schools and secondary schools in the area where they would have checked the children and identified those that are potentially requiring glasses. Just last week, the Cubans were here and already have started to see the students, and they are going to be given a pair of spectacles free of charge, procured from a local government, free of charge by your government, because we care. Okay, so again, it will be remiss of me if I don't wind up by again coming back to the CBI program. And I mentioned that is very important that you continue to pray in spite of the relentless attacks on the program, that you continue to pray that God continues to bless the CBI program, because this is what I mean, that's the reality we're facing with. This is what is fun in a lot of these programs and projects that we have going on around the island. We have launched, as I said, although we haven't taken any pay cut, we haven't had any increase in taxes. In fact, we have lowered some taxes, the federal taxes, I think from $15,000 a year as the threshold for people paying tax in Dominica. So all of these new innovative programs and projects going on, the elimination of pit latrines, and yes, people laugh at it. In fact, I think the local captain in there sang a song, right? Scared give them toilet. And I can sing it for him. Yes, we happy scared give them toilet. Yes, scared give them toilet, and we're happy, and we make, again, look at me, my cocos here, people, okay, my eyes. We make no apologies for scared giving them toilet, okay? And I will tell you why. And I will tell you why. I will tell you why. I worked as a district medical officer for a number of years before entering politics. And I can tell you the horror stories, okay, of finding some of our elderly people in the condition and the unhygienic condition that we would have met some of them when we do home visits. People who would have made their contributions when they were young. Some of them would have children well off. They would have produced doctors and lawyers overseas. And right now, no one cares about them. And the unsanitary conditions that they lived in, okay, is no laughing matter. So whichever Calypsonian from Wesley, whatever it is that said, scary will give them toilet. Tell them I say, yes, we're happy that we will continue to give them toilet. And as basic and modest as these songs, a washroom, toilet, bathroom, whatever you want to call it, as a minister of health, as a citizen, as somebody who would have seen some of the conditions, especially our elderly folk lived in, that in fact, I'm going to suggest to the Prime Minister that we use it as our theme song, Scary Give Them Toilet, and we're very happy for it, okay? The monies that my colleague minister spoke about that have been placed in the aid bank for farmers, we also placed, I think, $10 million or $15 million at the aid bank also for people in the hospitality service or industry. The small business, the money that we make available for small businesses, all of this is being made thanks to the funds, okay? Thanks to funds from the Citizenship by Investment program. So as I said, we want to thank God for the CBI, and again, I want to implore you, even if I'm not a regular churchgoer, okay, but I do believe in the powers of the Almighty. So pray to God or whoever that the CBI program continues. So in closing, people, in closing, I want to also let you know that the CBI program is not only done here in Dominica. So the impression, I think, that they're trying to let you think that is just scary and a few of us, okay, selling passports, whatever it is that they want to call it. They can call it whatever they want. It's okay. That it's only being done here and you know, and people pocketing the money and all of this. We want to let you know that a number of other countries around the world, even developed countries, are engaged in such programs. You don't have to believe me. You can go on your phone now and put in the Google thing, EB5 program, which is a program run by the great United States of America, where if you invest $500,000 American dollars, $500,000, that your permanent residency status is speeded up, or file is speeded up. Okay, so you could do it. Malta, Canada, all of these people are engaged in such programs. So don't ever let them, make them lead you to believe that this is something that is so sinister and illegal. Okay, and as I said, as there's a God above, He will continue to bless it. So I really want to thank you, as I said, for listening to me. We understand that we're not going to give you a chance to hear from you, because we understand there are a lot of issues, maybe or concerns or comments that you might want to share with us. Again, we are imploring that you do it in a respectful manner, mutual respect for all. As I said, we fear no one. You can ask us any questions. We watch in the middle of your eyes and answer you. Thank you very much.